Alors, merci au président du Rotary. Et donc, on enchaîne.
Thank you to the Rotary. And we're going to take a few minutes to get some fresh ideas. We're going to welcome Professor François Genêt from the Garches Institute or Hospital. I give you the floor in Turkish, Polish, or Spanish, as you can do. The novelties and equipment, thank you. So it's a pleasure to be introduced by Alain, who is one of our masters. So it's always an honor to present a topic in front of him. So I'm going to tell you about something that is more down to earth. We're going to talk about the novelties and equipment. And before that, I would like to thank Robert Cordier from Polio-France for organizing such a conference. I do many conferences. I know what hard work it is. You have to persevere. It's a fight. So congratulations to him and his team, and thank you for the invitation. I think that I have to move ahead with the remote. Okay. So the scientific committee asked me to talk about the news and novelties in equipment. And, every time people ask me what it is, the equipments all look the same. So is it a progress or not? So I will do this with my therapist. He will do half of it because I think it's important to show that it's not only physicians who deal with that, but a physiotherapist also. And this was supported by one of our physiotherapists in our department. And I also wanted to say that on this topic, I work with orthoprosthesists, so from equipment company, and they are also key element in our world, and we should not forget them. And the strength is the skills of all these people together. Thank you very much. Okay, so I need to slow down for interpreters, sorry. So what I was saying is that the multidisciplinary approach is linked to having professionals of different fields, and especially having the expert at the center, and the expert is you. There's nothing worse than people who use our equipments, because you know a lot more than we do, and it is with this richness that we can develop what we're going to show you today. So I have some commitments with companies, when we have relationships with companies. Well, why is that? It's because when you work with equipments, you have to work with companies. I work with these two. But I have to say that these people are also part of our field. You have to work in a good relationship with them in a smart way, because they are here also to support conferences. So this is what allows us to make progress. So polio patients are people who do DIY. They help us to make forward, because we cannot do this. So they dismantle their equipment. They stick some things to them, and they said, well, you didn't understand what I meant, so I did it in my backyard, in my garage. So, and this is very interesting for us. So I hope that I will be able to show the video, the oldest. So this is 1955. This is what we had for the patients. So, of course, the situation is no longer the same. This is what you have on the right. This is what we can do with the new equipment. So, of course, it's not the same situation. It's not exactly the same pathology, but the deficits are there. And even if those supports are the same, they don't do the same job. So what has changed? The joints have evolved, the orthothesis, the free axis, the locked knees, all these different equipments. And step by step, we had the motorization of this, and we got this from prosthesis. But as you can see on the top picture, we can have some electricity in it, some exoskeletons in a way. that we find on the market, and we can see more complex joints, as you can see in the top left, blue and gold, that allow us to have new indications and new types of equipments for the patients. So we'll not have this in the right order, but here you have the mag active, which locks up in extension and unlocks after the step is actually done. So that's for the patients who before had a locked knee. That allows them to unlock the knee and to walk safely. On the left, doesn't work. I think the lady said I have one of those. I don't know why the videos are not running. So on the right. So this is a lady who always worked with a locked knee with an unstable valgus. So now she can be walking. This is how she used the IMAG when she always worked with a locked knee. So that's quite interesting. And on the left, there it is. On the left, you can see this little thing, the Basco. This is an orthesis that has a mechanical lock. So this is why we have this margin. It's mechanical. It's not electric. There's a bit of noise, but it's a good support. And you need to retain these two because that will be the control group of the new protocol we're going to test later on, and you will see for patients.
Alors, je sais pas où je dois appuyer pour.
So, what's new? The materials have changed. You know that carbon was breaking a lot. We've worked with the company to find to work on the constraints on the different devices, and that's what we can do now with the different types of carbon. We had constraints in rotation, so we would use different materials. But now we see that with the new layers of carbon we use, we absorb the different constraints, and so we can have this kind of articulations that are in spiral. So I love to use them on certain diagnoses. For this is glass fiber. And it can be, it's very, very flexible, but we can use it. It has so we can have a different resistance, and depending on the muscle strength. And I've also asked my colleagues at the lab to work on a different mix of materials. So here you have Kevlar, and we use this Kevlar with carbon. So you can have Kevlar, carbon, and have orthoses that are made up of different materials, so that when you are sitting, it's comfortable. When you are standing, you still have rigidity. So it's very interesting. Today we are working on composite materials, and this really widens our scope. You can see that, for example, there the front side is made up of Kevlar. So this is the kind of innovative devices we have right now, and it can really help give more, make patients more comfortable with their devices. Next slide, yes. Now, we have new ideas. For example, every orthosis is tailor-made to the patient. They try it, we then make it up to that height. We make it different for everybody's feet, and so it's very tailored to the needs of the patients. And when we receive a prescription, it takes into account all these parameters. So here you can see an athlete that is a member of the Équipe de France, the athletic team, and he's able to throw a weight of more than 40 kilos. So, this is not only about materials. There's also the mechanical. So, for example, we have a lifter. It makes your knee move, right? And we thought, but maybe we could try to change the way we do it and use the orthosis for patients that had a locked knee orthosis with a new kind of orthosis, and we try to measure the strength that is applied when you bend your knee. So what have we done? We've hung our patient on a device that assessed how much strength there was on their knee until it bent, and with the orthosis, which were trying to obtain 20 to 30% more strength. So this is a new study that is starting next week with a lot of criteria that will allow us maybe the possibility to control the knee without having an orthosis going up until the knee level, which is incredible, right? And this is very interesting for the patient. It's lighter first, and it's less expensive. So the study will start with a follow-up of 3 to 6 months with all our patients, and 22 people have this device right now, and they live with it. And I will stop here. Now, okay, for the upper part of the limb, that's very important. This is the part that you see of the device. As of today, we have massive systems with locking articulations, mechanical articulations, and now we have, thanks to carbon, lighter devices. Now, I will give the floor to our physio. He will be talking about a C-brace protocol, which is really the future of our work.
Donc, pour faire suite à ce que disait le professeur Genêt, ça nous paraissait intéressant.
So we thought that it was very interesting to present a study that is being made on a new orthosis, the C-brace orthosis. It's an innovative technology. So this is an orthosis that has a knee that is done by a hydraulic pressure system and a sensor. So there's a sensor that assesses the strength on the orthosis, the different movements, and then the orthosis will have a variable resistance thanks to a microprocessor that's inside. You can see that there's a little box up there. And so the main benefit of this is that you can set it up through a smartphone app. And so the patient can set it up, but also the doctor, according to the different difficulties, the terrain, and so on.
Diapo. C'est bon. Donc, les avantages.
So, the main advantages. We expect to have a better approach of movement. So we don't want to have knees that are locked, but rather to have a non-locking of the knee during the gait. So really we want to have easier movement on unstable terrain, so outside, so to improve quality of life for the patient. So this trial has been made in different centers, 17 centers in France, and it has been sponsored by Autobloc France and a scientific committee in charge of the study with different doctors in the entire country that have really helped with this project. The trial was a cross trial, so each patient was its own control case. So either the patient would start with the new orthosis, and then we assess the situation after 2 months, and then we give him back the older orthosis. Either we do the other way. So the patient starts with his usual orthosis, and then after 2 months gets the new one. So we had patients that were used to have stance control orthosis, so orthosis that can be unlocked. So this trial started in 2022 and will end in, well, just ended in May 2023. The inclusion and exclusion criteria were quite strict, and it's very important when you have such a study. So we had patients with a deficiency in the locking of their knees, but they also had to be used to such a locking orthosis, unlocking orthosis, and they had also to have a to avoid other constraints such as to being in overweight or other issues. So these were the exclusions. So these are the characteristics of the population included in the study, and you can see that 84% of the population had a weakness of the knee muscles, and in the included patients, 20 patients had sequelae of polio. So this shows that this orthosis is targeted to post-polio patients, and it is a very interesting population to study because it's only a motor deficiency. And of course, you are experts in the use of orthosis, as it was said, and so you can very quickly tell us if it works or not. Now, the assessment. We had simply questionnaires, and question and answers on ease of life, how you moved, and also tests such as 5 minutes to go up the stairs and so on. So the orthosis allows you to it's not active, so it's just as an obstacle to the knee. But there's no active movement of the orthosis. You have to understand that. It's important. So we still don't have the results. The study just concluded a few weeks ago, but the patients we've had at our hospital have told us some interesting things, and there were 6, and I will give you the feedback. I think we are having an issue.
Oui.
The question was made of Mike. So,
donc je vais très vite sur les retours d'expérience.
I will present quite quickly the feedbacks from the patients. The patients that have tried the orthosis were convinced. They were able to do different things that they were not able to do in the past. They had better scores, better rates on the different scales, and they also saved time on the climbing up the stairs. And they also gained a score in the PSFS questionnaire, so we gave them 3 activities that were difficult to do and improved after the new orthosis. And then the cons. Well, the orthosis is more visible. You cannot hide it under your pants, and also there's no improvement for the gait, the walking inside. Now, I will give you a short video. I will show you, a short video of these patients using this orthosis.
Voilà, avec différentes activités. Donc le patient.
So we have different activities. So, for example, standing up, you can see that it allows to really block the descent. It's just natural. There's nothing to do. When you walk now, you can see at different speeds. You can use it differently according to your deficiencies and the way you've been accustomed to such an orthosis with different walking speeds.
Voilà, et on va les voir.
And now you can see them, and you can see that each patient uses the orthosis differently. And on the right, you can see that this man doesn't have any muscles on the knee. So it's just the hip muscles are still present, and all of them had -3 on the scale. And for the stairs now, you can see that it's a bit difficult for the women on the right because you have to do hyper-extension of the knee. And when you are climbing down, you can use the orthosis capacity to block the descent. And it was not possible with a normal orthosis, a locking orthosis, if you wish.
Voilà. Et pour finir.
And we tried this also outside, so on a more unstable terrain, but still controlled, of course. Now we will see something a bit more difficult. You can see a picture. That's where we were. and the video, because you see the hyperextension of the knee every time you want to to make a step forward. You have to unlock the orthosis. So it's an extreme situation here with a very unstable terrain in a slope, with mud, with leaves on the ground. So you can see that the patient is quite hesitant, but quite quickly she becomes more confident, and it's a success.
Voilà. Merci à vous.
Thank you, and thanks to all the participants in the study. Thank you very much. Thank you, François. Thank you for your presentations. It seems very positive. We see improvement in devices. When we look from the outside, it seems that nothing is happening, but it's very interesting what you've just presented. Do you have any questions? I'm sure you have some. Thank you. I have the EMAG, and I've had it for 15 years, more or less. And I see that with time, the issue is with the weight. The orthosis is heavier than my carbon orthosis, which makes it more difficult, honestly. So maybe what we would have to do, and I know it's more even heavier than your models, so I didn't want to try it because I thought, well, okay, with my hips now, with aging and hips, I know that I could have articulated orthosis because it's a bit different for my back. So my back is doing better, I must say. I have less pain, but it's important to say that the C-brace is still experimental, so we cannot get reimbursement, and it's very expensive. So it's 70,000 euros. So it's not reimbursed. That's what I wanted to say. So, yes, of course, it's great to have innovations, but yes, it's great for young people, but for people who still have strains in their abdominal belt. But I've always used prosthesis. It's very difficult. It's very expensive. And I must say that I'm walking less now. I will answer quite quickly. C-brace is a study, preliminary study. Okay? So, C-brace is monitored by an independent scientific committee from Otterbock, because we are doing this under the Social Security umbrella, because we want to get reimbursement for this orthosis. As for the weight of the orthosis, quite astonishing. But when the patient got it, they said it's very heavy. But when they use it, because it's a different way of using it, well, the pros do compensate for the heavier weight of the orthosis. And yes, it is heavy. And at the end of the day, they do not complain of the weight, because it gives them a lot more motricity. And it is still a pilot study. Okay? Another question here. Good morning. I have a C-brace right now, and I was at Châtaigneraie, sorry. And of course, yes, there's an issue with the weight. My wife, well, it's 1.2, 1.3 kilos added to the original weight. And this is not criticism, please. It's quite positive. I haven't seen really the improvements. What can you do to improve C-brace? I haven't seen anything from you. What I can tell you is that the battery, there's an issue with the battery. It doesn't last even a day, even a full day. So, and just for the joke, I can now tell my boss that I can't go to work because my C-brace is not fully charged yet. Let's be clear. We are not the designers of the orthosis. We are just the experts assessing C-brace. We were given C-braces, but we do not have the results. The study just concluded a week ago. So we are just doing the assessment. So please understand, yes, of course, the results of this study will give us data and we will know what has to be improved, you know how it works. But please, we are not making this orthosis. We are just the body that assess its possibility or not. A last question. Good morning. So my question is for the polio patients that are walking, and so for the different devices we've seen. Well, these kind of patients often fall down. It's something that happens a lot. So do you see a decrease in the falls with these patients? Do you study that? Well, typically, we lack data in the disabled people world, but that's what we are trying to do. When we change the device of someone, it's always difficult. I have this Moderator, I have this device, my Canadian, and so on. Or I love this one or this one. Tronillon. And so we always have to make people change. But you have to understand that what we can do, it's quite easy. You can try. If it doesn't work, you can change. And what we want to do is to get closer to the innovation that is possible to make the device lighter, but also to really eradicate falls in polio patients. And also think about aging. Orthosis today will allow us, and I think the people that have tried it will tell us that the orthoses, such as C-brace, will decrease falls because there are two mechanisms, the knee that is blocked and also your ankle. In the assessment, you've been talking about immediate improvement, but do you take into account pain relief? And also the anticipation of the aging of the different muscles that are compensating for the movement. Yes, of course, that's very difficult to take into account. Two polio patients are different from each other. It's not the same approach for each patient. And that's what I was saying when I told you that she had an unstable valgus at the knee level, which is a contraindication. So what's the strategy there? Well, we do a device that protects the knee or avoids falls, and then you have to find a balance. Really choose on the parameters, and then we talk to the doctors, we talk to the surgeon, and we try to find the right solution. We were about to stop, but I see Dr. Rania Benlafou. She wants to ask a question, right? François, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. It really highlights what C-brace can bring to the patients. Now, for falls, some patients felt that the orthosis would amortize the fall, buffer the fall, but we do not have enough data to answer this question formally. And as it was said by François Genêt quite clearly, it's still a orthosis that is being studied. And not all patients can use this orthosis, sadly, because it's very interesting and it's very innovative. So yes, this presentation was about innovation. It's not about what you can buy tomorrow at the store. But really, it's just there to slow down, not to block the knee, not to lock the knee.